Everyone talks about motivation like it's the secret to success. But here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. One day you feel unstoppable, the next you can't even get out of bed. That's why the people who achieve real, lasting success don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. Discipline doesn't care how you feel, it just gets things done. In this video, we're going to explore why discipline matters more than motivation, how to build it step by step, and how choosing discipline can completely change your life, even when motivation is nowhere to be found. Why motivation fails you. Motivation is seductive. It's that spark of energy that makes you feel like you can conquer the world. You watch an inspiring video, hear a powerful speech, or read a success story, and suddenly you're ready to change your life. You buy a new planner, make big plans, and for a few days, you're unstoppable. But then something happens. Life gets busy, you get tired, or things don't go as expected. And that initial excitement fades. Suddenly, you're back where you started, wondering where all that motivation went. This cycle happens to almost everyone. The reason? Motivation is based on emotion, and emotions are unstable. They rise and fall depending on countless external and internal factors. How much sleep you got, what someone said to you, the weather, your stress levels. If you rely on motivation alone, you're building your goals on a shaky foundation. The truth is, successful people don't always feel motivated. They're not superhuman. They just act regardless of how they feel. That's the real difference. When motivation disappears, and it always does, discipline is what keeps you moving forward. Think about professional athletes. Do you think they feel like training every single day? Of course not, but they do it anyway. Or writers who finish books, entrepreneurs who build businesses. None of them are constantly in the mood. They just show up again and again. That's discipline. Motivation is a great starting point. It gets you moving, but it's never enough to carry you to the finish line. If you want real results in fitness, career, learning, or anything else, you need something stronger, something consistent. That's why discipline matters more. So the next time you think, I don't feel like it, remind yourself that feeling is temporary. Action doesn't need your permission. And every time you push through without motivation, you're training your brain to follow through, no matter what. What discipline really means. Discipline often gets a bad reputation. People hear the word and think of rigid routines, no fun, and a life full of restrictions. But real discipline isn't about punishing yourself or living like a robot. It's about keeping your promises to yourself. It's the quiet power of doing what needs to be done, even when you'd rather do something else. Discipline means deciding ahead of time what matters to you and then honoring that decision. It's brushing your teeth when you're exhausted. It's showing up to work even when you'd rather sleep in. It's sticking to your budget, going to the gym, writing that chapter, turning off distractions. It's small actions, repeated consistently, that build trust with yourself over time. And here's the truth. Discipline is freedom. It gives you control. When you develop discipline, you no longer become a slave to your moods or impulses. You stop chasing short-term pleasure and start building long-term progress. That's when life changes. Think of it this way. Without discipline, you're always reacting, letting your emotions, cravings, or external circumstances dictate your actions. With discipline, you choose your direction and stick to it. You act instead of reacting. That's power. Another misconception is that disciplined people have iron willpower. In reality, they design their environment to support their goals. They remove temptations. They set up systems that make success easier. They don't just rely on raw will. They build routines and habits that make discipline automatic. For example, someone trying to eat healthy doesn't just try harder every day. They meal prep. They don't keep junk food in the house. They make the right choice, the easy choice. That's discipline in action, not dramatic, not flashy, just effective. And the more you practice discipline, the easier it gets. You start to build momentum. your brain adapts. You become the kind of person who follows through, who gets things done. And that identity shift is powerful. Discipline isn't a punishment, it's a gift, a tool, a path to becoming who you want to be. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be consistent. How to build discipline, even if you're not that type. A lot of people believe that discipline is a personality trait. You either have it or you don't. But that's not true. Discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it can be built with practice. You don't need to be born disciplined. You just need a system, patience, and consistency. Start small. Most people fail because they try to change everything at once. They commit to working out 5 times a week, waking up at 5 a.m., cutting sugar, reading a book a week, and it lasts 2 days. Discipline isn't about going big, it's about showing up consistently. So start with one habit, make it ridiculously easy. 5 push-ups, 10 minutes of writing, 1 glass of water in the morning. The goal is not intensity, it's identity. You're teaching yourself, I do what I say I'll do. Next, remove friction. Make your good habits easier to follow. If you want to exercise, lay out your clothes the night before. If you want to read more, put your book on your pillow. If you want to stop scrolling, delete the app. Discipline thrives in a smart environment. Don't rely on willpower. Design your space to work for you. Then, track your progress. Whether it's a habit tracker, a journal, or a simple checklist, tracking gives you visual proof of your consistency. It builds momentum and reminds you that you're improving, even on the days when it doesn't feel like it. Also, expect resistance. Your brain will fight back. It will say, just this once, skip it. That's normal. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to show up more often than not. One missed day isn't failure. Giving up is. The key is to restart immediately. Don't let a stumble become a stop. Lastly, attach your habits to a bigger purpose. Discipline becomes easier when you know why you're doing it. You're not just waking up early, you're creating space for your goals. You're not just working out, you're building confidence, energy, and health. Tie your discipline to a deeper reason, and it will carry you through the tough days. Anyone can build discipline. It's not about being tough, it's about being smart, committed, and patient with yourself. The long-term rewards of choosing discipline over motivation. When you choose discipline over motivation, the rewards don't always come instantly, but they compound in powerful ways. At first, it feels subtle. You're just doing the work, waking up on time, sticking to your routines, showing up even when it's hard. But over weeks, then months, something shifts. You start becoming the kind of person others admire, not because you're flashy or lucky, but because you're consistent. Discipline builds momentum. Small actions done daily lead to massive results over time. A few pages read every night turn into dozens of books. A 20-minute workout becomes a transformed body. A side hustle turns into a full-time income, not through bursts of inspiration, but through steady, focused effort. That's the secret most people miss. It also builds confidence, real confidence, the kind that doesn't come from likes or external praise, but from knowing you can count on yourself. Every time you follow through, even when it's uncomfortable, you reinforce that belief. I can do hard things. That changes everything, from how you walk into a room to how you handle setbacks. Discipline also gives you clarity. When you act consistently, you start to see what works and what doesn't. You waste less time guessing, doubting, or chasing quick fixes. You develop a sharper focus, better habits, and clearer goals. You start making decisions based on your values, not your moods. Most importantly, discipline protects you on the hard days. The days when motivation is nowhere to be found, when life is messy, when things go wrong. While others stall, complain, or quit, you keep going, quietly, steadily. And that's when you pull ahead, not because you're faster or better, but because you refused to stop. People overestimate what they can do in a week and underestimate what they can do in a year. If you choose discipline over and over again, even in small things, you'll look back in a year and barely recognize the person you used to be. Success isn't about feeling inspired every day. It's about doing what matters, especially when you don't feel like it. That's the long-term reward of discipline, a life you're proud of. At the end of the day, motivation might start the engine, but only discipline drives you to your destination. It's not about being perfect, it's about being committed. Even on the boring, hard, or uninspired days, the people you admire didn't get there by waiting to feel ready. They built systems, took small steps, and showed up over and over again. If this message resonated with you, do something about it today. Pick one small action and commit to it. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe. Discipline starts now.